Today, I'll be ranking and explaining every fighting style in Gakuran on Roblox in a proper tier list. Alright, first up we have Basic. This is the free starter style, but personally, I actually wouldn't sleep on it. I'm gonna be putting it in A tier. It's a common rarity, but genuinely strong, especially if you learn how to parry. Land a perfect block and you get plus 5 damage on your counter, plus faster posture regen, and a bit of chip damage through guard. Most of your damage here comes from punishing mistakes and not spamming M1. It's also great because it works at any height, but it shines more on shorter builds. Next we have Karate, and I'm gonna personally put it in B tier, because honestly, it's kind of boring. There's nothing necessarily wrong with it, it is reliable, there's no glaring weaknesses, but also no real wow factor either. You get posture regen off perfect blocks, and a partial posture refund on landed M2s. It's the style you pick when you want something that won't get you punished. Great for beginners, but forgettable for anyone chasing highlight reels. Next up we have Muay Thai. I'm gonna put this in A tier. On taller builds, this thing becomes relentless. Bonus posture damage, 30% chip damage, so even blocking you still hurts. But it only works if you're aggressive and you're reading your opponent constantly. So why is it in S tier? Because good players will just space you out, or worse, get grabbed by a wrestling main and lose the exchange entirely. Alright, next let's talk about the worst style in the game right now, and for some of you this is probably not gonna be a surprise. Slugger. It has a rare rarity, it also recently got buffed, kind of, and somehow it's still bad. That bumped its damage trade-off from plus 10/-20% to plus 25%/-25%. Meaning you deal more, but you also take more damage as well. I mean, it's great for noobs, but it's terrible against anyone who actually knows what they're doing, because that extra damage you're eating adds up really fast. It does have solid chip damage if you land parry, so it's not completely useless, but again, it's really only usable for noobs, and it's just not competitively viable. And now the only S tier style in the entire game, Boxing. Epic rarity and honestly the most oppressive kit here. M2 attacks come with iframes, meaning you literally can't get interrupted. Land a perfect block and your M2 cooldown shrinks. Add chip damage on top of all of that and suddenly your opponent is stuck choosing between parry and eat pressure, or dodge and eat pressure. Once you're consistent with parries, this style just doesn't stop, and it honestly makes sense for a lot of people. And next style that we have is Capoeira. I'm honestly not sure how to pronounce that, but I'm gonna put it in B tier. This one's a bit polarizing. It has a legendary rarity built entirely around mobility. Dash cooldown drops by 25%, so even big builds can kind of like dip around it. But the damage is kind of mediocre, the range is a bit short, and there's no hyper armor or iframes to help bail you out. The M2 ragdoll doesn't even combo well since opponents recover like way too fast. It's really just for resetting distance. This is a style for the more patient technical players who like thrive with perfect spacing. Akari also lands in A tier. Epic rarity, best on short and medium builds because it thrives on like landing full combos. You can pull off a complete M1 combo without getting stunned, and you get a 7-second window of 3x damage on your M2s. Plus your M2 can ragdoll opponents even without a transformation. In team fights, you can charge that buff on one target and unload on someone else entirely. So again, why is it not S tier? It just got nerfed and it kind of struggles hard against wrestling specifically. Last but not least, we have Wrestling, and I'm gonna put this in A tier. It's a legendary rarity, it's dominant on tall builds, but it lives or dies on your grab timing. Land the grab and you get 1.5x damage plus hyper armor, so you can't get interrupted mid-grab. However, the catch is that you have to bait dodges and parries to land it consistently. Punish someone dashing in and it's basically like a free hit. It takes way more practice than something like boxing, but once you've got the timing down, it's actually pretty brutal. Overall, as like a summary, if you're new to the game, Basic, Karate, or Boxing are the best possible fighting styles. They're relatively forgiving, low mechanics, and also hard to punish. If you're getting more comfortable with the game and are around like an intermediate skill, Boxing's still king. Muay Thai is also pretty good, but only if you like the constant pressure. And then I would just say Karate if you want something safe and weakness free. And then if you're ready to go advanced, I'm gonna say Wrestling once your grab timing is sharp, and then also Boxing, obviously. Or you could also do Capoeira, but only if you got the patience for it and are a more highly technical player. Anyways, that'll be it. Subscribe if we helped.